was a very ingenious young man. At 12 years old, he was sold over to Charleston to work on a ship. He worked on a ship called the Planter. And what's unique about him, not only was he a statesman and a congressman later on in his life, it was what he did when he was young. Because, see, he had this dream. It's kind of like Martin Luther, only way before. He had his dream. And he said, one day, I'm going to be free. One day, I'm going to get the opportunity, and I'm going to break loose. And as he rode around on that ship there, he waited in the morning of 1862. It was May 13th. He waited. All the white officers were off the ship. And so he snuck his kids onto the ship. And he and 12 slaves sold off in the Planet. Now, not only did he sell off, he was pretty smart. He sailed right past the Confederate ships. And as he sold past the Confederate ships, he was dressed like a captain, but he had his back so they couldn't see his skin. And then he had the Confederate flag waving. As soon as he got out of the water, you know what he did? He rose up the truce flag. He rose the truce flag and sailed right into the Union Army and say, I offer this as a token. He said, I offer this as a token of appreciation for all the black Americans that are fighting in the war. And they accepted it as contraband. Now Robert Smalls would continue to go on, and of course we know the big parts of his history where he became a statesman and he became a congressman. But we probably don't know, there's a little side story off on there. You know that Robert Smalls came back to Beaufort and became an active citizen in the community? Yes, he did. That's how he got his street, you know that, right? That's how he got his middle school, you know that, right? Well, see, now Robert Smalls, he had a very kind heart. Very kind heart. You know, he was raised in Beaufort as a slave until the age of 12, and when he was sold off, the McKee family was his slave family. You know, she had gotten old in her age. She had gotten what they call that dementia. There you go. Say it ain't so. She had gotten dementia. And she came back to the house thinking that this is my house. That's my slave. This is my life. And he opened the door and let her in. And he let her live there in his house. Now I had to research that because some kind old gentleman gave me that story. Well, he's not that old. He's only about 5 years older than I am. He knows who he is. Now, Robert Smalls, I will tell you, Robert Smalls, that's why he's a pillar. So next time you ride past Robert Smalls Street or Robert Smalls Middle School, do yourself a favor and reflect back on the history and the great things that he's done for this community, our union, and this nation. Now, I'll close with a couple of fascinating facts. You know, there was at least 134,000 slaves that went to the Union. 134,000 of that 268. That's a lot of people. You feel this one, you know that, right? 40,000 blacks would die in the course of the war, and 30,000 of them would be sick and hurt. Now, as we close up, I want to summarize. You know, I talked a little earlier, I said Frederick Douglass wanted to make an impact. Frederick Douglass made an impact on over 4 million African Americans at that time. Free and enslaved, and they rallied around the Union flag once everything was said and done. You know what I'm saying? You know, I say to myself, you know, who would have known? Oh, y'all missed it. I said to myself, oh, there you go. Who would have known he would be able to make the impact and continue to make the impact today? You know, we served unequal treatment, massacres, riots, pursued in quest for that freedom. We had some rough times, but guess what? We got past it. Thousands of blacks thousands of blacks would serve the Federal Army in over 163 units, 2 infantry regiments and 2 cavalry units after the war. So the Civil War, as we opened with earlier today, blacks can fight. And kind of like William Carney said, they did their duty. And kind of like Frederick Douglass said, they earned their right to citizenship. They fought their way to get equal rights. They earned their ability to be recognized every year for not only 1 week, not only 1 month, but a part of history. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, and Semper Fidelis.
Thank you very much, Sergeant Major, for sharing that information with us. Please join me in welcoming to lecture Postal Chief here aboard MCAS, Nathan Atkinson.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm only a green belt, so I get the wrapping it up. I don't really know how to follow that up, but on behalf of Tribe Command and the committee, we'd like to present this certificate of appreciation to Sergeant Major Farr. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gunny. Please join me in welcoming to lecture the Executive Office, Naval Hospital, Beaufort, Captain.
Well, good afternoon. Good afternoon. When they first asked me to come here and speak, I said I'd be happy to. And then they told me I had to follow Sergeant Major Farr. I knew I was in trouble. So let's just give him another hand. Wasn't that Thank you to all of our presenters, our performers, and to the staff who made that outstanding lunch. So, great afternoon and morning, I think. So let me just close. We've heard a lot about history today. And I think history is important. If you're, the folks in the hospital will know just how important I think history is. They hear about it all the time probably. But history is important because it teaches us about our present and it shows us the way to the future. So I'd like to close by looking at that. In 1860, what is now Naval Hospital Beaufort was the John Joyner Smith Plantation, a place where a few folks who looked like me made a whole lot of money because they had slaves who had done nothing wrong except their skin was a little bit darker, raising things like indigo and cotton, and they were making a whole bunch of money off those folks. Move three years forward, 1863. On January 1st,